Welcome to another tutorial video regarding AB products processing and storage. This time, I will show you how to solve for the minimum angle of friction to concrete and steel materials. I will be solving this problem to show you how it is done. A receiving pit for rough rice is to be designed for a rice mill. If material to be used is concrete, what is the minimum angle of inclination that will be needed for the pit so that it will become self-emptying? Consider a coefficient of friction for rough rice to smooth concrete of 0.52. If steel will be used instead of concrete with coefficient of friction of 0.41, what will be the inclination needed for the pit? But before that, don't forget to like, subscribe and click the notification bell. To continue, I would like to give a basic definition about angle of friction. The angle of friction refers to the angle measured from the horizontal at which a product will start to move downward over a smooth surface and smoothness of the material. Basically, moisture content affects the angle of friction of the grain. Wet grains has a greater angle of friction than dried grain. In getting the angle of friction of a certain product, we have a table that is necessary to determine the coefficient of friction for a certain agricultural products. If you noticed, we have the list of crops from the first row of the table, also the other rows indicates certain materials with the distinct coefficient of friction. I will show you how this table is being used. Going back to our problem, let us first identify our given. We have the material, which is the rough rice. The material to be used is the steel, with a coefficient of friction to be 0.41. And the other material required in the problem is the smooth concrete, with a coefficient of friction to be 0.52. Note that the values for the coefficient of friction varies depending on the crop that is required in the problem. In the problem, the required are the minimum angle of friction for the concrete and the steel material. After identifying the given and the required for our problem, we proceed with our solution. To solve for the angle of friction, we will be using the formula, tangent theta is equal to coefficient of friction of the material. Take note that the theta is our angle of friction. Now, we begin solving the value of our concrete material. To be able to solve the angle, or the theta, we derive the formula. Giving us, theta is equal to cotangent of the coefficient of friction for concrete, which is 0.52. We simply solve and we have the angle of friction for our concrete material to be 27.47 degrees. The next value that we will be solving is the value of our angle of friction for our steel material. We will use the same formula. Substituting the values, we have theta is equal to cotangent of the coefficient of friction for steel, which is 0.41. We simply solve giving us the value of the angle of friction for our steel material to be 22.29 degrees. That is now the solution to our problem. Don't forget to like, subscribe and click the notification bell before you exit.